Yes, you did read it correctly. It's not a misprint. The title of this video actually does say that West Ham have no money for reinforcements in January. What does that mean in plain English? It means we ain't got any money for signings, apparently, according to the club. That's the information they've been leaking anyway. Now, before I go any further, I'm quite prepared that they're keeping their cards close to their chest. It's a game of bluff. It's smoke and mirrors. And maybe, just maybe, they don't want to let it be known that we've got money to spend. All I would say is that that's not usually the way West Ham do things. We just don't behave in that fashion. It's just, look, things may have changed with the appointment of Tim Steidten. I don't know. But that's as far as we know so far. Where does this information come from? Well, it came from yesterday, where they were leaking to one and all and anybody that wanted to listen that there was no interest in Timo Werner at all. Now, I liked the link with Werner. I thought he was perfect, actually, for West Ham under David Moyes. I know he wasn't particularly prolific at Chelsea, but let's be honest, a lot of the time he spent at Chelsea, they were a bit of a basket case of a club, weren't they? There was a lot of players not doing particularly well at Chelsea. I just thought the way he played, particularly the pace of him, the way he seemed to be comfortable out wide, it's sort of good size, was he 5'11", 6 foot, something like that. I thought he'd be a good match. Anyway, the club pretty much came out and said, look, we're not interested in this player. We have no interest in him whatsoever. We don't know where this rumour's come from. So I was a bit gutted with that, because some rumours for some players, you want them to be true, don't you? I thought, yeah, I want this to be true. Anyway, it isn't. And anyway, it went on to say, we may be looking to bring someone in January, but only as a loan. Only a loan deal. What? Why? How? It doesn't make any sense. I'll tell you why it doesn't make any sense. We brought in, and this I use transfermarket.com. I know we brought in more money than players we purchased. You know what I mean? We sold more than we bought, put it this way, in terms of monetary value. So transfermarket.com, I think that's what they're called, they said we spent 137 million, but we harvested 156 million. Now we know this because part of the sale was Gianluca Scamacca. Look, we'll get to that in a second. Let me do the advert first. I've got to tell you about this stuff, and then we'll get back to this football. I've got to promote Manscaped. I'll tell you what, Manscaped are magnificent. I've got all their gear. Look, there's the Lawnmower 4 there. I've got the Weed Whacker there. I've got the Lawnmower 5 on the way. The Weed Whacker's for your hooter, by the way. My granddad said to me, many, many years ago, he said, son, there are 3 things as you get older that carry on growing. He said, your ears carry on growing, your nostril hair, and I think we all know what the third is, don't we? But anyway, I didn't believe him. It's true. So I use the Weed Whacker quite a lot. What is brilliant, though, is this beard trimmer. You can adjust the length of it. You know, like a normal beard trimmer, you have to take like this bit off and you put a 0.5, you put number 1 or a number 2. This, you don't need that anymore. Look, this goes up and down. Absolutely brilliant. They have got so many good products. So I'll tell you what to do. The link is in the description below. Go along and check them out. Go and see Manscaped. If you fancy something, if you see something you like, you might want to buy a Christmas present for somebody else. In the promo code, the discount code, use Hammers Chat, all one word. You'll get 20% off. And also, you'll get free shipping. But just have a little check, because they were running a Cyber Monday deal that was 25% off. If they're still running that, do that. Don't do the Hammers Chat one. If all the deals are gone, it's back to standard pricing. Get yourself 20% off. Really, really good gear. Go and check it out. Back onto the players. Let's have a look at who we've sold here. We have sold Declan Rice. We sold Nikola Vlasic. We got a little bit of money for Arthur Masuaku. And, of course, we sold Gianluca Scamacca. Now, here's where I find it a little bit weird on all this stuff. And that is that Scamacca was meant to be the replacement for Sebastian Haller. Right? So, as far as I was concerned, we spent 40 odd million on Sebastian Haller. Had our pants pulled down a little bit on that one with Ajax. Don't blame them particularly. We pulled their pants down a little bit recently. There's been a lot of pants being pulled down. You could buy pants at Manscaped, by the way. And then what happened was we had about 20 million to spend, and David Moyes said, I've got money to spend on a striker, don't worry about it, I'll bring a striker in. Took him bloody ages, didn't it? Eventually we got one, Scamacca. Now, we spent £35 million on Scamacca, but I was gobsmacked, bearing in mind the season we'd had, that we actually got a deal that got us nearly 30 million back. We didn't lose that much, we lost about 6-7 million, something like that. Now, right at the end of last transfer window, you might remember, we had a bid for Hugo Ekitike. Now, he's a Paris Saint-Germain striker, French striker. it doesn't really matter whether he's good, bad or indifferent. My point of the matter is, after we had bought everybody, and when I say everybody this season, after we bought Kudus, after we bought Edson Alvarez, we bought Mavropanos, we've spent our money, right? After we've done all of that, there was still money left over for a striker, right? And so all that's been done, yet we didn't manage to get it done. So I thought there was 30-odd million there, and there should be 30-odd million there. Because actually, if you look at it, look at what we did last season. We won. We won the Conference League. That was worth about 25 million pounds to us, something like that. That long cup run. Couldn't have gone any further in it, could we? Let's be honest. There was money made from the Premier League. I think we earned about 200 million from the Premier League, as you do each season as well. I mean, we had a pretty good season in terms of money. It may well be, I think last season was possibly our record ever turnover. It was either last season or the season before. We spoke to Kieran Maguire on this very channel, and Kieran said West Ham are cash rich. Gio asked him, should we be worried about FFP and stuff like that? He said, no, honestly, he said, West Ham are absolutely fine. So why would we be in a situation now where we can only loan a striker? I really don't know. Look, I am aware that if we can't bring a striker in, that's probably really good for Divine Mbama. I think, okay, great. But I'm not talking about that. I still think, look, I would ideally like Mbama to be almost like a second choice striker, but I still think we need a senior striker. We really do. Look, Mikel Antonio cannot be relied upon to be the senior main focal point striker at West Ham. I'm not saying it's all over for him. I'm not saying I'm ungrateful. I'm really not. But he cannot be relied upon. He does not score enough goals. And I'm not even going to bring fitness into it. That'd be a cheap shot. His fitness has actually been pretty good, right? But whenever he returns from international duty, he's pretty crap. He doesn't score enough goals. And do you know what? I can't remember who did it, but and fair play. I was talking about beast mode, and then somebody else said it's more like least mode, which I thought was really, really good. So sorry, I can't remember who said that. But he is in least mode far more than he's in beast mode, isn't he? So I think my point being, I think I'd like him on the bench. He'd be a really good impact substitute. And do you know what? He wouldn't just have to be a striker. You could bring him on right wing, left wing, or as a striker. So I'm not trying to throw the baby out of the bathwater to Mikel Antonio. Far from it, right? But I don't think he should be leading the line as the number one striker. So we've got to bring someone in. I'm sure you'd all agree. By the way, I'm not suggesting for a moment that we shouldn't look at right back. I'd also like to bring in a right back. I think we should probably bring in a left winger. And I would also quite like it if there was one more sort of central midfielder. That's if Moyes is not going to promote from within and give the youngsters a chance, right? But to say there's no money for a striker, well, why? Well, where's it gone? How can it be? We got, in fact, I think we might have 3 billionaires on the board. I might be wrong. I think we do. I think Kretinsky, Sullivan certainly is, and possibly Tripp Smith. I mean, we are absolutely minted. But even forget that. Forget the external money coming in. We actually generated our own money. Not just with the Europos Cupos Conference League win, but in terms of all the money we brought in from Declan Rice, all the money we brought in from Scamacca. And I know it was only little bits. And yes, I'm aware we lost money on Vlasic, but it was still money that came in this season. So I'll tell you again, 156 came in. We spent 137. West Ham absolutely needs to go and buy a striker. And you know what? You've got this guy and you've got Tim Steidten in. You're not asking him to go out and... Well, you are. It's like trying to make a silk purse out of a cow's scrotum. Cow hasn't got a scrotum, has it? Like have a cow's udder. Ball scrotum. Sorry. Sort of going off on a tangent. Nasty, not a very nice one either. But you know what I mean? You're asking him to turn water into wine. You really are. And I personally, I think if I was Steidten, I wouldn't want to be operating from within those parameters either. And honestly, what are we going to get if we're going out there and all we can do is bring a striker in on loan? Now, don't get me wrong, some deals can be good. The first time Souček came in, it was on loan. It was a good deal. Jesse Lingard came in, it was on loan. It was a good deal. I'm not saying all loan deals are bad. Not at all, right? But you are seriously limiting your chances. Basically, look, it's as simple as this. What have you got more chance of getting a good striker? If you're going to got 30 million to spend or no millions to spend? Well, I mean, it's quite clear. It's quite obvious which is the preferable position to be in. So I just found it a really, really odd thing to read. I really did. West Ham are not interested in Timo Werner. Okay, I'm disappointed. Fine, right? But to say, oh, we're not really going to be looking for anyone else. We might bring someone in. If we do it, we someone on loan. My word, come on. Look, this is not good enough. Maybe, just maybe, I'll give it one other thing, one other little excuse, if you like, one bit of mitigation on this one. And that is that maybe, just maybe, if West Ham are looking to bring in a new manager next season, maybe they're saving the funds for him. But again, that doesn't make any sense either, because we've got a director of football now. I thought we weren't doing that anymore. I thought the guy doing the recruiting was Tim Steidten. And actually, whoever is the manager is going to have to work with the players that Steidten brings in. Is that not the plan? Is that not what we're doing? I thought it was. If that's the case, then we won't be waiting for one to come in. I tell you what, I think there's a really good opportunity for West Ham this season. With the European places going down to 8th position, all West Ham have got to do is make sure for the remainder of the season we do okay. We've got to just do a little bit better than our form has been this season. Okay? I mean, all right, it sounds perhaps easier said than done, but without a striker, you can almost forget it. It's almost like we're surrendering European competition next season. Now, I do understand that financial fair play is more strict in Europe, but let's be fair, if we carry on like we are, then we ain't going to have to worry about that at all. And as for this Everton thing, yes, Everton have had their knuckles wrapped. They really have. But I can't say any more and do any more than I already have, which is look at the figures. We don't look to be close to it. And Kieran Maguire is the financial football expert. Sky get him on, BBC get him on. He runs the Price of Football podcast. He's the guy. He is the go-to guy to check football finances. And it's not even like, oh, I heard from my cousin's best mate. No, he told us. Kieran Maguire came on to Hammers Chat and he said, West Ham ain't got any worries. I think his words may well have been, West Ham are cash rich. Well, if that's the case, what are we doing trying to loan someone?